Hi, hello everyone. Hope you're all doing well today. My name is David. I am an international training consultant at Leron. Today, thank you all for joining. We're going to have this webinar called Data-Driven Decision Making. I hope everyone enjoys. Mr. Art Zeqiri will be our presenter for today. He will be handling this topic. If you need anything, you can message in the chat. If you need anything regarding this or anything outside of this, training, any kind of other inquiry, feel free to contact me. I think my contact information is here, but if you need anything, message me anytime, or Mr. Art if you need anything at all. So now I'll pass it on to Mr. Art to start with the presentation.
Hi, David. Thank you so much for the introduction. Hi, everyone. I hope that you are doing well. First of all, I would like to thank every participant for their time together for today, for joining with us. We will have this webinar, which we are going to discuss about data-driven decision making. And of course, we will discuss about some best practices which are out there, some technologies which are leading the way, and of course, the strategic impact and how data-driven decision making is making all the impact in the modern business, modern governance, modern governments, and many more sectors. So let's start right off with the outline. So first of all, we will start by understanding the data-driven decision making, where we will discuss about the essentials. We will discuss about the essentials of data-driven decision making. We will discuss about the key components and tools which make up data-driven decision making. Besides that, we will discuss about implementing data-driven strategies. And in the end, we'll discuss about the future trends and innovations which are related to data-driven decision making. And after that, we will have a small Q&A which we will discuss about this. We will answer any questions you might have. And of course, after that, we can schedule one-on-one meetings and what is necessary from your side. So first of all, before we start, also, I want to present myself. So my name is Art. I have started my career with Leron Institute, and I could say that I am product of Leron Planning and Leron Career Development. In terms of my position at the moment, I'm the Associate Director of the Technical Academy at Leron Institute, where we oversee all consultancy projects which are related to all technical fields and portfolios, starting from IT to projects to procurement and many more. Besides that, I'm also a university lecturer where my PhD thesis is also related to business intelligence and data-driven decision making, and of course, machine learning, and how all of that, along with AI, is creating the modern business environment. So let's dive right into analyzing data-driven decision making. When we are discussing about data-driven decision making, we need to understand, and this is something which I always try even to tell to my students, to our clients, where we perform consultancy or coaching. Modern data and how modern data is collected and processed is the new gold, is the new oil, because through the analysis of data, you can make or break a decision. Because we have a modern business environment, which is a fast-paced business environment where a lot of competitors are in every industry. There are only a few, you can name them all also in the fingers of how many industries there are left which you have monopolies. And taking this in consideration, it's mandatory for everyone to have this type of competitive advantage, which is coming down to increasing operational activities, reducing cost, training your staff. Besides that, also to just a second. Adele and Vish are not hearing me. Can the rest hear me? Can you hear me? Yes. Okay. Okay, good. Sorry, guys, just so the sound is clear. Good. If you need anything, just text. Okay, so as I was saying, modern data analytics, along with the process of finalizing this type of charts, this type of graphs, which are giving us a clear picture of what's going on inside the organization, gives us the competitive advantage that we had during the Industrial Revolution. I'm going back now to history. During the Industrial Revolution, where UK had as its first competitive advantage with the introduction of steam engine. Then we have of course, the competitive advantage, which was also during the 40s and 50s and 60s, starting with the Enigma machine, which was developed by the British, then with the first computers, etc., etc. And nowadays, with all of the data around us, we have, even in one click, we can create specific personas for our clients, and based on that, we can target them with specific products, we can target them with specific offers, or we can enhance our staff ability and productivity. So let's go back and let's discuss a bit more about the definition and the importance of data. I would say that the main pillars when it comes to data-driven decision making and data analytics are informed choices, actionable insights, and continuous improvement. Let's dive deep into this. So informed choices. In the past, you know that as senior managers, I saw the attendees list before joining this webinar, and also I see now the participants. I see that a lot of you are senior managers. So you know that in the past you had a lot of challenges in making decisions because you did not have all the necessary information. So whatever you did, one part was left, let's say, to your hunch, to your instinct on what you need to do for your staff, what you need to do for your organization, etc., etc. Now, with the information that we have out there and the different tools, which we'll discuss in the upcoming slides, you have in front of you a very good dashboard, which is created with all the necessary information regarding the path of your organization, the KPIs of your team, the cost of your product, your clients, who you need to target in terms of demographics, in terms of age group, etc., etc. And that helps you in creating and utilizing the actionable insights which are coming from this analysis, and you start with the strategic planning, strategic decision making for your organization, for the products, etc., etc. And in the end, once you've did that, once you've launched new products, new initiatives, or you have changed something within your organization, you go to the step which is continuous improvement through data. And this is also part of the Lean Six Sigma methodology. And we have a very specific part here, which is Kaizen. And that means incremental continuous improvement. With all new data which is taken, you refine your data set, you refine what you have in front of you, and based on that, of course, you get more and more insight on what you need to improve to even 0.001% improvement per iteration. Something which is related also to the Lean Six Sigma methodology. So, in the past, we didn't think that much about data. We had a traditional culture where, as you know, as I mentioned, you would go in your hunch, you would go by your hunch, by past experience, you would go by your best practices which have been done, etc., etc. And that's the first part, the traditional approach, where you have organizational culture, which is also based on gut instinct, etc., etc. As time progresses, as more data is there with the automation, you as leaders have started the digital age or the digital transformation or data-driven transformation. I will give you a very specific example while we are discussing here. Let's take in consideration XYZ company, which is working with XYZ organizations to sell XYZ products. They have a sales team of 100 people and they have, let's say, around 500 products. They are divided into multiple groups and some of the products are selling very good, but some of the products, we know that they are good products, but they are failing. They are not selling. If we go with the traditional approach based on hunch, we say, okay, I might be wrong. This might not be a good product. Let's scrap it. But with data-driven transformation, we have the number of inquiries sent for that specific product. We have the amount of requests for modification. We have the amount of request for implementation of the same. So we analyze in details what's not good there. Maybe it's the sales team. Maybe we are targeting a totally different market. Maybe we don't have a good backup for the product and the quality is failing, or maybe it's just all of the above. If you have specific all of the above situations, then of course you scrap it. But if you have only one or two, then you utilize data-driven transformation where you go directly to the source. You try to find best practices and you try to make changes which will impact the organization and the product. And that leads us to the main benefits which are for data-driven culture. That is, you'll have increased efficiency, improved decision quality, enhanced customer experience, and of course, as I said in the beginning, since this is as per my understanding, the modern oil, you have competitive advantage. But all of this is good in theory. What if we try to discuss about real tangible benefits about data-driven decision making? Let's go more in depth about the four main pillars which are about data-driven decision making. And they are improved operational efficiency, where you analyze the KPIs, you analyze how the products are being built, you analyze the lost time for building a product, you analyze your employees. Maybe some of your employees are taking longer breaks than necessary. Maybe they are lacking in this product development, but they're good in the other. And in this way, since they are lacking, you are losing money. So what you do, you analyze that data, which in this case is one of the pillars of tangible benefits. And based on that, you make the necessary changes. The same goes with the customer experience. If you are a sales organization, it's by default that you analyze in details how is your organization doing, how are your customers, and what is their experience with your organization. You don't have monopolies in 99% of the cases. So customers, if not in your organization, if not in your country, they can go in another country now with the digital transformation, get the product online if necessary, and bam, that's it. You need to do a very good customer experience if you would like to gain a competitive advantage. And that's why you analyze in details how the customers are feeling. What are their preferences? Did they like this product? Did they like your team? What did they didn't like? And etc., etc. And based on this, of course, you adapt. Same goes with mitigating risks through informed decisions. XYZ products are, let's say, for example, you are selling them in XYZ country. Something is happening. Travel is getting expensive. Your customers cannot fly to that destination. If you do not have the data, your product will fail in that specific region because your clients will not fly to that specific region for that product. However, if you have information and you have predictive analytics, let's say, for example, from July, we know that until end of September, the flights are going to be very expensive when it comes to travel destinations. So let's say something in Spain or in Italy. So what you do, based on that, you analyze in details what you can do to mitigate those risks. You either change the date for your product if it's something that clients need to travel, you either go to make specific offers before that with flights, with tickets, etc., in order to mitigate the risk of failure. Of course, if we analyze these three main pillars, we get to the fourth one, which is the main one, and that is the competitive advantage. Because you improve operational efficiency, you enhance customer experience, you mitigate risks, and you don't lose money on failed products. All of that gives you a competitive advantage through more funds, more projects, better sales, better customers, better loyalty, etc. Let's discuss now with some brief examples to understand data in a global context. So we know, first of all, that there is a worldwide adoption for data, uh, especially for the data which is standardized. And by standardized data, we are saying for data which can be used by multiple organizations and they can get benefits out of it. You have data which has cross-cultural relevance, and of course it has versatility across industries. One of the booming sectors which is impacting right now the global economies, and it's the pioneer of using data and data-driven decision making, of course, Amazon e-commerce websites and the products that they're selling online. So how do they utilize data? Well, first of all, they have different types of competitor behavior analysis where they analyze your every click, your every move inside that website. They analyze what you are searching, what you are putting into the cart, what you are searching in other browsers through cookies, which you see in every website nowadays. And based on that, they create these specific profiles in their database, which are tagged to different demographic information, preferences, age, gender, etc. So every time you log in or someone else creates a profile which has similar data to yours in terms of profile, age, etc., they will start giving specific products. One example of this, and it's a very famous example when we're discussing about utilizing data analytics, is the Hurricane Francis and what happened in US in the 2000s. So Target was losing a lot of revenue, especially through natural disaster. What they did is they analyzed what happened in previous natural disasters, what customers bought. So a lot of customers bought water, they bought toilet paper, and they stacked up on bread. So what happened in Target at that time is that they merged an offer before Hurricane Francis of these three main products. And at that moment, they had an increase of 300% sales for this specific offer, and the increase in revenue was around 75% in total, only through one decision with data where they packed three different products into one based on a specific natural disaster. This is about customer behavior analysis and how data is helping there. Besides that, also we have inventory optimization, where data is helping a lot, where we analyze in detail what's selling, what's supposed to be sold, and what it cannot sell. I will give you an example on this. I am working closely with Arla Foods in Saudi Arabia, and what's very interesting is that they have this intricate process of data analytics, which is related with different types of holidays, national holidays, as well as religious holidays. When it comes the period before Ramadan, like 1 month prior to Ramadan until the last day of Ramadan, they have this overproductivity. And this is a strategy by the Arla organization in Saudi, where they work as much as possible on the producing fresh products. Of course, you know, Arla is in dairy, so they work on producing fresh products, stacking up shelves, all the time fresh products, bigger shelves in different supermarkets, creating these types of different shapes and forms that are attractive to the customers. And all of that is giving them a lot of competitive advantage and a lot of revenue. Now, targeted marketing. We have targeted marketing, which is about e-commerce. And of course, you, as I said, you open your phone. The first thing that happens, let's say you open even Instagram nowadays, even Facebook, the first thing that happens, an ad, something that you liked, something that you searched, something that you maybe were in a specific region where it was sold based on your profile. Let's say, for example, when I travel to Saudi, I have specific targeted ads, but when I go to Oman, I have different, depends on the region and my profile, which is linked to this one. And of course, site selection and expansion, as I gave you the example with Arla Foods, it goes the same. You have demographics. They are utilizing then holidays, religious and national. You can utilize demographic data or whatever type of data to choose which site you will be present, how much information will be, products will be there, etc., etc. This is about retail. Now let's move on to the other sector, which is heavily impacted on data-driven decision making. And of course, we have healthcare. At the moment, we are looking a lot of different types of technologies which are deployed in healthcare. We can see that also happening in the Middle Eastern region. We have the Vision Realization Office in Saudi, which is working heavily towards modernizing as much as possible the healthcare. The same is going in Oman, same in UAE, and same in other countries. So what they do, they have started to utilize the Western best practices and to utilize data. They have now data analytics for the patients, where you know what type of patients you have mostly in your departments based on the electronic records. And of course, you know what types of illnesses can happen due to X, Y, Z symptoms which are out there. For example, you have the online Mayo Clinic, where you list some of your different types of, let's say you have a headache or you drink more water during the evening, you list that. The first thing it goes to patient data analytics. It creates a electronic health record for you. And then it goes and utilizes that to clinical decision support, where it helps you by giving you specific guidance. I'm not saying diagnosis because the human touch is always important, but it gives you a specific guidance on where to go, where to focus, and which types of treatments might be possible if you discuss with the doctors. And of course, that goes to resource allocation and operations of the same, where they know what to order in terms of the hospitals, when to order, bed management for hospitals. That means that you stack up on your patients as necessary, not just in one department, you expand. We saw that with COVID, how different hospitals were changing to help with managing of all the patients, etc., etc. Then, of course, another industry which is highly impacted is manufacturing. So we have supply chain optimization, which through data you have specific suppliers, you have specific types of internal and external operations which you analyze, and you try to cut costs by remaining with the same quality. Now, with the current inflation, we see that through data-driven decision-making, supply chain operations in manufacturing is a must to have also data analysis. Same goes with predictive maintenance, where you do specific maintenance on your machinery before they start to break, so you have less cost for fixing them. Then you have quality control and product design and innovation for the same based on this. This is about the case studies. But let's discuss a bit about how to build a data-driven organization. I would say that in order for you as senior leaders, in order for you to build a data-driven organization, what is very important is that you need to think of the four main pillars. That is data governance and quality. When you are starting to work with data, you need to understand that the quality of your data is very important. You need to have data which is structured. You need to have data which is cleaned, not data which is not relevant to you. Let's say you are in healthcare and you have data for specific manufacturing. That's something that will not help you at all. That's why you go with specific data. You have a governance framework which is ensuring this quality of the data which is collected, and of course which is processed to the upcoming stages, that is creating the business reports and the dashboards. Once we have the first pillar and we have the product, the material, I like to call data material. So once we have the main material there for us, and that is the first pillar where our material is standardized, is qualitative, then we go with data infrastructure and tools, something that we'll discuss also in the upcoming slides. We implement specific tools which are necessary for our organization. Let's say you are working with Microsoft and you have implemented Microsoft fully in your organization. Of course, your first, let's say, choice will be to go with the Power BI, because it has a integration part which is very easy for your organization. You don't need to spend a lot of time in training. You don't need to spend a lot of time in developing extra features. Of course, then once you've chosen the tools, you go to data literacy and skills development, where it's very important for you to have training, to train your team, to have awareness sessions, to train them, to have practical approach to your data policies and to the data that you want to analyze, in order for you to have relevant information out of it, and not just some data which might be misleading for your organization or for the product development or targeted marketing, etc., etc. And of course, collaborative decision making, which once you have the three main pillars, you have started to have these dashboards. You have started to have in front of you a clear picture of what's going on. And based on that, you go on with decision making, which is cross-functional. Nowadays, I'm saying nowadays because also in the PMI universe at the moment, you in Project Management Institute universe, you have a very specific focus towards culture, towards bringing down the silos between different departments and sharing knowledge between one and the other department. And that's why collaborative decision making is very important, because what you decide with the strategy of the data that you have might have a good positive impact for your organization. However, it might have a very bad impact for one of the departments, which might limit their work. It might create double the work, triple the work, etc., etc. That's why you need to focus on utilizing technology for the benefit of gaining a competitive advantage for the organization, not just for your team. Now, as senior leaders, as an introduction to data-driven decision makings, there are four pillars that you need to consider. First of all is data privacy and security. It's very important for you as an organization and for you as a leader to implement different rules of a data policy, data privacy and security. So whatever you collect, it's stored and it's safe. It doesn't leak, it doesn't impact or harm anyone in the process, as we see in multiple organizations happening worldwide. Then you must ensure that there is fairness, and you have your metrics in a fair way, and you have algorithms that are presented without biases, which are going to be biased towards any department or towards specific individuals. Of course, the third pillar is about transparency and accountability. You need to be transparent with your actions. You need to take accountability if something bad happens. And of course, you need to address any potential issues or concerns as a leader. And the fourth one is the human oversight, where you need to have an oversight on everything that's going on. We have nowadays AI. We have nowadays machine learning. However, we are not up to the stage where we can fully trust the decisions made by AI or by machine learning. That's why always needs to have a human oversight, either you or some subordinate, in order to manage what's in front of them and to see if you are going to go ahead with that or not. So now, since we have defined data, I will try to go even more in depth with data-driven decision making, where we will discuss in details about the power of analytics. Here we will discuss about the competitive advantage. We will discuss about the tools. We will discuss how you will select as a leader the right tool, what will lead you to select that tool, and of course, then we will discuss about specific tools and ethics before moving on to the strategic part of data analytics. So let's start into. This is a recap of the first part. So data-driven decision making, guys. First of all, as a senior leader, before you start to implement or before you start to choose a specific tool, the first thing that you do is that you define the problem. You define on what's happening. You define the business problem which is there, what you need to address. Either you are losing money, you want to have a new product. Doesn't matter as long as you define it as it needs to be. Once that is defined, then we move on to the second part, which is gathering and analyzing data. This is the part in which you gather all the specific information that you have. You start with analyzing them, and you start with having a specific view of what you have in front of you. Once that's done, we go to the third part, which is interpreting and communicating the insights. And once that's done, we have also informed decisions. But as senior leaders, you need to understand one thing, and that is how to collaborate with different teams within your organizations, how to bring down silos, how to utilize the knowledge that other departments have to your advantage and to the competitive advantage of your organization. And that's done through four main pillars. You need to assemble cross-functional teams. Let's say you are analyzing data for sales. You don't just go with the R&D department to analyze the data if it impacts your organization and the strategy. You go with, first of all, assembling a cross-functional team, which is consisted of people from sales, HR, R&D, suppliers, etc., etc. You establish the goal in front of you. You say, okay, we have a problem with sales with this product. We don't know either its quality, either its customer experience on what's going on. Let's try to find a solution for this. So once you have a shared goal on what you want to achieve, you facilitate collaboration, where they start collaborating with different tools. And once that's done, you have iterative approach where you refine all the time your products or your data analytics, if you are just focused on that, and based on the feedback which is taken from different stakeholders, either internal and external. This is when you start with your project. But what you need to keep in mind as a leader when before you start with a product. The first one is how to leverage visualization for data storytelling. So you need to understand that different departments, different roles, different types of individuals have different understanding and of different type of tasks that they have in front of them. That might be that they have a lot of knowledge in mathematics and statistics, and that might lead them to them going ahead with just some few charts, more calculations, more, let's say, statistical approach, but they will understand it. But that's if you discuss with a specific XYZ engineer or finance department. What if you give that specific statistical approach or statistical analysis to your sales team? What will happen? No one will know how to classify or how to read what's going on. So what will we do there? We analyze that we need, no matter who we target, we need to have visually compelling data in front of us to have a good storytelling. Nothing, in my opinion, nothing can beat good 2 or 3 charts and graphs and just a small description for those, because you have in front of you a chart, your full product, what's going on, more maybe bars on 2022, 2023, 24, and you just have it in front of you, you analyze it. Even a small toddler, if they see it, they see if their colors are there, visual appealing, it's red, they know that something is not right, the charts are going down. Or if it's green, they know that it's positive. So that's why you need to always keep in mind that as data scientists, as data analysts, as leaders that are going to implement data-driven decision making in your organization, that things need to be visually compelling. You need to have it clear. You need to work with psychology on this to have good, understandable colors that will create a full story on this, that they will help in uncovering insights. And of course, it's going to be fully focused on the audience, which is in front of you. So this is about data storytelling. But what about the best practices, which I started also mentioning? We need to have clarity and simplicity. We need to have a good color palette and contrast, as I said, appropriate visualization, and storytelling and context. Once you have understood the psychological part, then you can go on with the technical part as leaders. Because what happens in the backend for you as managers, but also for the CEO, or one day if you become our CEO in the future, if you're promoted, you will not care that much about the backend, because you will not have time to care about backend if you are working in 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 employee organization. You will focus what's in front of you, and that is visually compelling, clarity, color palette, visualization, and storytelling. But if you are a middle manager or someone who wants to implement something, you also need to think of the backend. And how you will think of the backend is through the part on what is analyzing the data. And that is the analytics techniques behind the data-driven decision making. So we have 3 main areas or 3 main pillars when it comes to analytics techniques. We have the predictive analytics, where it leverages historical data and statistical models, and through that it forecasts future trends and patterns. Then you have machine learning, which it deploys different types of algorithms they can learn through different types of patterns, different types of data which has been used, how it has been used. You don't need a lot of programming for this, and they enable the improvement in performance, in having variable insights for your data, and of course in intelligent decision making. And of course the third one, which is regarding deep learning, where I would classify deep learning as advanced form of machine learning that uses artificial neural networks to learn and make intelligent decisions on its own. So this is the backend part, and what you need to focus on for this. Now, you have decided on your analytics technique, either predictive, either machine learning, either deep learning. Then we go to the tools. Then we go to selecting the right tool for you as a leader to implement data analytics in your organization and to implement data-driven decision making. How that is going to happen? First of all, you go and analyze the user requirements. You analyze what is necessary for your organization, what your organization needs, what your organization needs to go to, which are the steps. But here you need also to consider factors which are the expertise, the technical level and expertise of the users, the desired output. Maybe you want something only for sales. Maybe you want only for quality of your product. It doesn't matter as long as you have selected the right one, which is related to the strategy on where you want to go with the tool. Once you have defined the user requirements, the second step is scalability and performance. When we're discussing about scalability and performance, you need to understand and to define the complexity and the growth of your organization and how those tools will adapt to your organization based on the workload, based on the ability to handle the data that will be collected, etc., etc. And of course, the third one is about compatibility. Something which I mentioned in the previous slide when I said that if you have a Microsoft ecosystem, you go and you choose Power BI because it's the no-brainer choice if you want like something that's going to be fully integrated with all the different apps that you have in front of you. However, if you go and you want to choose different types of tools, of course, you check the user requirements, scalability, and integration and compatibility of your organization. The top three choices, let's say, Harun doesn't have audio. Is it fixed now? Can the other hear me? Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. So I can continue. By the way, if anyone has any question, guys, feel free to interrupt me at any point. We can discuss even from now if you have anything that you want to clarify in the slides. If not, you can continue with the Q&A in the end. It's all up to you. Okay, let's continue now with this. So we have the top three tools, which I say that are chosen for the organizations which are out there, and this is a analysis which has been done based on multiple organizations in different fields. It's not only for professional organizations in manufacturing, but also for travel agencies, for banks, for learning and development, etc., etc. So, taking this into consideration, the first one is Tableau. Tableau is one of the leading software which you as a data analyst can choose when it comes to your organization and the analytics tools, because it creates very powerful and interactive dashboards with and reports as well with little to no effort, because it's mostly drag and drop. It has a very easy interface, but behind that it has a very high analytical capabilities. The second one is Power BI. I mentioned Power BI multiple times, and I'm mentioning again, it's chosen because it's the most compatible one with majority of organizations, same as Teams. Before COVID, you know, let's go back now in 2019, 2018, 17, how many of us were actually using Teams? I think little to no, a small percentage. Why? Because there was not such a huge necessity. We were using Zoom. We were good with Zoom. We were using WebEx, and that's all. But internally at organizations, once COVID hit, once we started working from home, the automatic choice for all the digital transformation leaders and the IT teams, what was it? The simplest route towards utilizing what you have paid, and that is Microsoft. That is fully using all the apps in Microsoft, and that's why they chose Teams. Same goes with Power BI. You have all the data, you just migrate them to Power BI, and that's it. You are done with it. You have the dashboards in Power BI. And the third one is custom software. This is mostly for large organizations which have specific needs which cannot be tackled by a Tableau, Power BI, or specific recreated software, but they need something which is fully modifiable, because they have specific production. Let's say, for example, if you have production of shippings or of cars or planes, you have specific information which they cannot go in the off-the-shelf software, and they cannot be fully integrated. That's why in those specific types of data, you go with what is the most suitable choice for you, and that is of course to go with the custom software, which will give you that flexibility to launch new features, to edit the features as they are, and to utilize the data that you have in front of you. You have chosen the tool. It's okay. You've started developing specific data analytics. You have started thinking about the data-driven decision making and utilizing, in some cases, data. However, as leaders, when having data-driven decision mindset, when implementing that strategy, you need also to take in consideration the security, privacy, and ethics. You need to take in consideration as leaders, first of all, the regulatory compliance. You have the GDPR, which is the General Data Protection Regulation, and the California Consumer Privacy Act as the most famous ones when it comes to handling different types of data. What you do with as leader is that you always need to comply with the regulations. You need always to have in front of you a clear picture that what is shared with you or what is collected by your organization is confidential. No one can have it besides your organization, because that's something very personal. Imagine this. All of us have bank accounts. Imagine how would we feel if our private data, let's say our bank accounts, would be shared, would be public. How would we feel as individuals? That's the same. That's the same. That's happening with the regulatory compliance. You need to always have in front of you the General Data Protection and Regulation Act, the GDPR. You need to go to have in front of you how to protect data. For example, I will give you an example because Mohammed also is asking. Yes, Mohammed, I will share the slides and we can delve deeper and explain data governance framework today also, but also we can arrange a call for me to explain in more details if we don't have time until the end of the webinar. So, first of all, when it comes to regulatory compliance and the framework, what you need to understand is that you need to have secure systems. I will go into some IT parts now. For example, you need to have cold storage. You need to have secure storage. You need to have penetration testing of your systems. You need to have different types of, let's say, security measures. Like, for example, since we are discussing about banks now and about the slides, I will, sorry, about our information. Now I will share this. Let's say that in front of you, you have your phone, and every time you log in somewhere, you have two-factor authentication. How important is that for you? How much trust that gives you for that specific organization? If you're in a bank, you have two-factor authentication. You have Face ID besides the password, or in your phone you receive a different type of code which you add, that is directly impacting the trust which is for your organization, and of course the trust of your customers for to share important things with you. I'm talking about banks, but please note that this is for all organizations. You are, let's say you are in sales, or you are in automotive industry. That type of data needs to be very safe, because you have there the personal information such as ID, you have address, which is a privacy concern, you have bank details, etc., etc. That's why you need to have multiple layers, multiple stages, and multiple changing parts in your data storage. And that means that you have cold storage, which is stored somewhere safely. If you have some type of breach or something is happening with your online systems, you have that backup, you have that security measure which is there, and it's very difficult for things to leak. This is linked also to ethics, guys. Ethics as data analysts, as leaders, is very important. You need always to have the ethical part when it comes to analyzing, when it comes to handling different types of data within the projects for different types of clients, etc. Because if we prioritize transparency, fairness, and accountability, we will have a very different approach to our clients, because we will be a trusted organization in front of our clients, and they know who to choose when it comes to specific XYZ products. And of course, AI and machine learning. We have a lot of organizations. We as individuals are going at the moment all in with artificial intelligence and machine learning, experimenting as much as possible, etc., etc. But sometimes we as individuals, and sadly it's happening to some organizations as well, we forget to understand how the data is treated from AI and machine learning. What's happening with the data that we are using? Is that data secure? Are we 100% sure that ChatGPT, OpenAI are handling data as they should? Are they utilizing it? Are they using it for their advantage, etc., etc.? Anytime you handle sensitive information such as like this, you always need to take that into consideration, especially if it's your client sensitive information. Then you have to be very careful, because not only that you are damaging your clients, you are damaging yourself as professionals, you are damaging your organization and the trust within the organization, and that goes in hand with ethics. Since you have discussed so far about the tools and what you need to take in consideration about data privacy and ethics, let's go a bit more deeper now. Let's talk strategy. The buzzword. Every leader, every organization, strategy, 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 strategy. What is the modern strategy? What do you understand with modern strategy, guys? Can some of you just give me an explanation in the chat box, or can unmute themselves? What do you understand with modern data-driven strategy? See? Feel free to unmute and speak, guys. What do you understand with modern? Achieving objective is the most efficient way. That's correct. Thank you, Jeremy. Thank you. Welcome, Jeremy. By the way, everyone, Jeremy is one of our heads of practice of marketing and digital analytics, and it's a pleasure to have him on board with us today. Welcome, Jeremy.
Thank you all.
Anyone else? Yeah. Anyone else? What do you understand with modern data? Modern data strategy, modern data-driven strategy. I would say this. I would not go into define AI. Thank you, Ruby. AI, that's true. But when it comes to strategy, as senior leaders, as leaders in your organization, what comes, let's go back to eliminate the part of data, just strategy. What comes first in your mind? Revenue, culture, competitive advantage. These are the three things. You put data into it, what happens? Visualizing it, informed decisions, hearing the full voice of the customer, having a good understanding of the market that you have in front of you, and based on that, developing services which no one has. Okay, thank you so much, David. It's a tool to support strategy. It's not a strategy on its own. That's correct. Also, David, Kerry, maximizing opportunities based on analysis of metadata rather than being swayed by personalities and qualifications. That's very, very in-depth analysis and very good, David. Thank you very much. Thank you so much. So again, we have some of our colleagues that are saying that it's supporting the strategy. It's going mostly towards the personalities, not that much to qualifications. So we have a good understanding where the data is leading our strategy. It's a tool to utilize the strategy, to utilize what we have in terms of resources and creating new strategy. Use the insights derived from data analysis to guide decision-making processes across various functions of the organization: marketing, product development, operations, and customer service. Abu Sufyan, thank you so much. I think that Abu Sufyan has insight on what I'm sharing next in the other slide. So we have data-driven decision making, how it's impacting, how the data part is impacting strategy. Voice of the customer. That's the main thing. As we said, we hear the voice which we were never able to hear when we were creating strategies for our organizations in the past. We hear the voice of what the customer really wants. We hear on what the customer's main point of, let's say, main pain point is. We hear what the customer wants in terms of products, and not like it was in the past, we know what you want. Or I think, well, it helped in some cases. We have Apple and its late CEO, which said, I know what Apple, let's say, Apple clients want, and that was with the introduction of the small iPhone, while Samsung was having a large screen. We remember iPhone 4, 4S having a small screen, because they had that approach of, I know what the customer wants. But is it really now that we want those small screens? Let's be personally, I am okay with having these larger screens that are at the moment in our phones, because you have much clearer view of everything around you. Everything is optimized only for screens, so having that small screen, even texting is that difficult. It's not functional in the modern environment. It might be 10 years ago, but now, if you go with that, I know what they want, you would not have a good product. And that goes to market intelligence. If you listen the voice of the customer, automatically you have market intelligence. You have a competitive edge where you have market research which has been conducted already through your data, and you utilize that data-driven approach, that data-driven decision making in having better market intelligence, the industry trends, and based on that to gain competitive advantage, which is also linked to the third part, which is about prototyping. We know that we had, now I'm talking a bit more about with my IT attendees, we know that when we're developing software, we have low fidelity and high fidelity prototype. Low fidelity prototype, sorry? I think someone was unmuted. So we have low fidelity and high fidelity prototypes. When we're discussing as leaders, the gap between low fidelity and high fidelity prototype, which is the initial prototype, which is non-functional, and the functional prototype, needs to be shortened as much as possible. If we shorten the time, we shorten the cost. We are the first to market. If we are the first to market, that's the competitive advantage, which even if it gives us a few months to be the first in the market, it gives us a revenue which drives other R&D ahead, it drives other products, it drives the quality and the strategy of organization forward. That's why through data, you influence that type of acceleration in rapid prototyping. Besides that, when it comes to how data is impacting strategy, you have the customer data integration, where you have consolidated types of data. You have, for your customers, you have predictive analytics, where you leverage the analytics for your strategy and data. For example, let's say you have specific predictions for 2024 Q3, Q4, and 2025 Q1, that in this period of time, XYZ products are going to sell based on what happened on XYZ things in the past. And that's something that will shape your strategy. As one of our colleagues was saying, David Rigby, is that it helps you in shaping the strategy. This is the tool for the modern strategy. And of course, you have a customer mapping journey, which is helping you with that. Let's talk about data and different types of sectors and how it's shaping them. Let's talk about data-driven in financial management. It's helping shape the three main pillars when it comes to finance. That is budgeting and forecasting, You have financial forecasts which are much more accurate, budgets which are much more accurate, costs which are analyzed in more details and are much more accurate, etc., etc. That leads to the second part of our strategy, which is cost optimization. You identify where you are losing money. You identify which types of products or which type of processes are losing you money. You implement the data-driven strategy created. You implement the strategy created by the data-driven approach. You reduce waste, optimize resources, allocate the resources across your organization, etc., etc. And of course, we have the investment analysis where you evaluate different type of investment opportunities based on your strategy, which is based on data, and you have simulations of the market, risk analysis, and the chances of you having wrong investment are much lower than if you have correct type of strategy and investment. This is for financials. Let's go back now to a sector which is heavily impacted by data right now, workforce management. At the moment, we see, and this is something that I'm discussing also with HRs through different regions, CIPD is implementing in its CIPD level 5 and level 7. Also with edX and a lot of universities are implementing the same type of, let's say, approach when it comes to this modern HR based on the best practices of organizations and the pain points. And that is how to utilize data for you as a workforce management or for you as a manager who manages different types of teams, manages talent acquisition, development, workforce planning, etc., etc. Let's start from let's create the first, let's start with the most basic one. Let's create a journey. Let's think of a journey and let's move with that. In front of us, let's say you have employees that are coming to your organization. First thing that they do when they come, swipe the card. That's the first type of data that you get as someone who is utilizing data for the strategy of workforce management. You know when your employees are clocking in. Your employee comes, he sits at his desk, he has his PC in front of him or whatever, he sits at the machine if they're working in machines, etc., etc. You start collecting data, which is the output. And that means you start collecting their productivity for the day. You start collecting their input that they have through their productivity for the overall organization. You start checking errors. You start collecting types of information which are for errors, like in XYZ things, we have XYZ errors which are made. And based on that, also, you start calculating also their effectiveness and what are they good at, what are their key strengths. Of course, I'm not talking about that you should only focus on this, but it's one of the main actors, because also you have the different types of one-on-one, face-to-face discussions, etc., etc. Once you have this type of data, where they're good, where they are bad, you also have their productivity, which is when they check out. So you know who are your top performers, who are your lower performers. Then if you go in more details, you know who comes, who tries hard, but someone who stays longer than working hours. You see that they are always trying to produce. You see that they are trying, but you see also where they are lacking. And you see the low performance coming, not that productive, 3 p.m. hits, not even 1 minute, check out, bye for the day. Based on this, you have a clear picture of what's going on with your employees, and then you can draft your strategy. You have employees which need further development. You have employees which by this you understand that they need development, they need training, they need coaching, one-on-one, etc., etc. After you have conducted also another analysis, interviews, etc. with them. You have employees who need a performance management, a PIP as it's called, where You go in one-on-one with that employee who is a low performer, discuss with them what's going on, why is it I have data that backs up that you are not performing good in this. Maybe they were very good, but they are lacking now, something personal happened, they're not happy with the organization or whatever, but you get straight to the point, and based on that you see the employee, the reactions, and you move forward with that. So I'm focused on pillar 2 and 3 now because I'm focused on internally. Then I will go to talent acquisition. Then you have also workforce planning, which is heavily linked to pillar 2 and 3 as data analyst, because in front of you, you have the work which has been done and how much you can also increase the output and the effectiveness of your organization. And that's how you do workforce planning. For example, you have 3 developers for XYZ features in your website. You have 3 developers which are in XYZ website. You see that they are trying as much. Training is not helping. You see that they need also workforce planning to be there, to have a lot more people there. Then you go to the talent acquisition, which this is for recruitment process, where you utilize data to identify the top talent and streamline the recruitment process. I have 2 comments. Well, one comment and one question, which I want to address. Data-driven decision-making for work from home, where employee engagement falls. Mohammed, I would say that employee engagement in working from home, it's measured first of all through the output, and I'm a strong believer that work from home is something that needs to be there. Of course, you don't have clock in, clock out, but you have other methods. You have the output, you have the impact that the member has when it comes to attending the meetings where they are helping the team members, coaching the team members. But when working from home, of course, and when you have only online data, you need to be more strict with documenting that in order not to have employee engagement, which will fail. And we have David, which says that it destroys the trust between employee and boss. David, would you like to share more on this? Can you hear us, David? Can you unmute yourself if possible? Yeah.
Greetings from sunny Spain.
Hi, David. How are you?
I'm good. To me, and I've been doing this a long time now, the more you monitor people, the more it destroys the relationships between the employees and the bosses. Because the relationship should be based on knowing who they are as a person rather than gathering all this information.
I fully agree, David, with you on your point, because personally, I hate micromanagement. And what we're discussing now, it might seem like micromanagement, but it's not in a way that you are checking in every detail on what they're doing in terms of how they're performing tasks. You just check the efficiency of the processes that you have set up, and you check where you need to help your employees. It's not about finding flaws in them. That's something that micromanagement is doing a lot.
I agree with you about micromanagement, but I think certainly it's the way you do stuff that's so important here. It's not having the information is useful, but it should not be the criteria necessarily for managing somebody. It's just part of the information, which is what I said before, really.
Of course, I fully agree with you on this. That's why I say that from the beginning, we also had a slide on that the human touch is very important. You should never rely only on analytics and on data. You should always have in front of you the part which is the human touch, not just leave it to machine learning, not just leave it to specific algorithms. You go one-on-one, the hardcore traditional, let's say, workforce planning and HR, you discuss face-to-face. Yes, I agree with you, Ruby. Micromanagement is very bad and stressful. That's why you discuss one-on-one, try to help them, try to help your employees through different types of, let's say, engagement or empowering them, or as we said in performance management, maybe something is going on with them. Data is not showing them, not showing that, but when you have one-on-one and that human touch, which I think that will always be there and helpful in organizations, you eliminate the distrust and that type of, let's say, negative impression towards your employees, that you are just checking a screen and treating them as robots.
It's often the case that the process is very inefficient rather than the person. And that's when you need the conversations to identify.
Correct.
Why is this job so difficult? Because this happens and this happens, this doesn't work, etc., etc.
Correct. That's why we have cross-functional teams nowadays. That's why we need to break down silos, because you as a leader, I will give an example in manufacturing. Let's say you as a leader have worked only on specific part, and you have went through the corporate ladder up to a specific part which you are managing the full team, the full production, not just your department. But if you have silos, David, you don't understand what's happening in the other department, and you have not set up a good system to measure that. That's why you need to have cross-functional teams with you if you want to implement IT and data analytics, because everyone will talk about the challenges and what needs to be measured. Let's say in car manufacturing, it might be very, very difficult to, I'm just giving guesses now, to put a tire on a car. But if you worked only on windshield or whatever, you don't know how difficult it is. You just check the data. That's why you have cross-functional teams to streamline them. But again, it's not 100% effective if you don't have the human touch.
We were talking about silos and data 40 years ago when I was working in this. And I noticed one of my friends is published yet again the issues about silos this week. I think 40 years on, same issues every single time. And it's not only cross-functional, it's also cross-cultural, it's across the world,
Correct.
different things do different things, different ways. And
Correct.
you've got to be very, very careful about, as you say, I know this bit really, really well and then nothing else. And that is absolute nightmare in this world. But there's so many people who are like that. So
Yeah.
you've got to get over it and find the other ones. Okay, I'll shut up now.
No, please. I really enjoy these types of discussions. Yeah, David, I fully agree with you on this. Now with the cross-cultural teams and the globalization, we see these challenges which are appearing more and more, and these problems. That's why even PMI, if you've seen the new content from PMI, the Project Management Institute, it's not focusing on the project management, let's say, like it was focusing 5 or 6 years ago, where you would go through the processes, you would go through the phases, etc., etc. It focuses on team, it focuses on leadership, it focuses on Maslow's hierarchy of needs, on different psychology analysis, it focuses on managing virtual and cross-cultural teams. And that, as globalization goes, it's something that we need to go again. We brought down silos, but we've built them again. That's the sad thing, that we have been, with the new technology, we've gone one step backwards. Okay. Anyone else? Yeah, Hassan. It's human nature, which we need to try as much as possible to let's say the analyze and to implement best practices. Leadership is not something that you can only read. You must try to implement it, and you must try to have high emotional intelligence if you want to become a good leader. It's not just about processes or about specific software. That's why human touch is everywhere, and it must be everywhere. That's my opinion. Okay. If no one has anything, I think we can continue. Okay. So we're talking about data-driven workforce management. Now we are to the part which we started already discussing, and that's about culture. When it comes to culture, when it comes to in your strategy that you have to have this type of specific data approach, you have some key pillars which are very important for you. And that is, first of all, you need to have buy-in for the culture that is and for the data which you are trying to implement, which you have commitment from your leaders to make specific organizational changes. You as a leader must lead through example. You need to have servant leadership, which for me personally, I like the most, even when managing my team. You need to give room to grow. You need to understand the human nature that you might be the best, but when it's not going, it's not your day, it's not your month, nothing you can do about it. You need to understand as a leader that you need to have this culture of empathy, understanding, and based on that to have data strategy in your organization. Of course, data literacy is very important. You need to invest a lot in understanding and decompressing different types of data through different types of trainings where each employee needs to understand how they are utilizing the data, where they are utilizing the data, and what they can get from the data and how it benefits them, but also how it can harm them if not used correctly. So we have discussed about the key things that are creating the strategy. Now let's discuss about just small part about the projects. How you execute a project through data. So when you have different types of data-driven projects, of course, as in every project, we have the main pillar, which is there. We define the goals. We have data acquisition process, where we identify relevant types of data, we clean that data, we acquire that data and start working on that. We then go to the third step, which is about analytics and modeling that type of data, where we deploy different types of software, tools, analyze and model, and of course, we implement the same. Once that is done, we go back to the Kaizen methodology and we monitor and optimize as it needs to. As leaders, what matters, as I said in the beginning, success in our strategy. So what we do is, once we have deployed the data-aided strategy, I would say, we always need to have these 4 parts that are going to define what we are doing and the path that we're going. We need to align with the strategic goals that we have. We have to have clear KPIs, align with them, metrics that are there for our organization, for our employees, etc. To have comprehensive and clear dashboards which everyone can understand. Everyone can know how they are performing. Everyone can understand how the products are performing. You as managers will know with who you need to have one-on-one. You need to have discussions and as different types of tailored strategy for your team. Then that's related to the conducting regular interviews for the same. And of course, the capture qualitative feedback, which is the part which you complement the quantitative metrics with qualitative feedback, and you discuss this with your stakeholders. Now we are going to in the final parts, which yep, David, balanced scorecard is useful with the least number of KPIs. That's true. I fully agree with you. Now we are going to discuss a bit about technology and the future, the potential of data analytics. As leaders, we need to understand that there are 3 main trends when it comes to our data analytics and when it comes to how the data analytics is changing and what can we do with the new technology. So the first one is artificial intelligence and machine learning. We have AI and ML, which are heavily impacting data analytics, data visualization, where they uncover hidden patterns which could not be uncovered until now with the different types of tools that we had and the different types of analytics that have been done in many cases manually. Where they try to uncover different types of patterns, automate the same, etc., etc. Then we have Internet of Things, edge computing and Internet of Things. We have Internet of Things everywhere. We have devices, we have smart devices that are collecting, analyzing data, processing data, where the most funny example is that even our fridge nowadays collects data. I don't know if you've seen the commercial that Samsung has released this new fridge for home usage, where even the fridge nowadays collects data on what we have inside the fridge and suggests different types of recipes. Imagine, that's how far we are going with analyzing data. Is it that necessary? I don't think so. But will it be in the future? It's gonna be make or break. If you don't have that data, you will not be able to survive as an organization. And of course, the golden part for small and startups, for small companies and startups, cloud-based analytics. Cloud-based analytics is a trend. Well, we know cloud many years ago. Nowadays, they're implementing also data analytics tools in clouds where they have very scalable options, cost effective. That gives you the advantage of not being that huge organizations with multi-million dollar budget just to deploy data analytics. But nowadays you can just purchase some part for in a cloud storage. You can upload your data, it's going to be secure, you have data storage there, and you can start with analyzing the same. And this leads us to the expanding universe of big data at the moment. We talk about Internet of Things. Even now, as I said, fridges, they have a lot of information which is collected. Imagine, even fridges and ACs and whatever. What about healthcare and genomics? Same goes there. We have explosion of data in medical records. We have data for US leaders to make specific decisions there. But what is a new trend now? And also, which is a buzzword in Saudi Arabia, is the line. How is that and geospatial and location-based data going to be related to each other? Well, geospatial and location-based data is data which is collected from every GPS, from every device which has access to a GPS. And based on this, also it helps with satellite imagery and it helps us in optimizing logistics. I will go about the line once we define this. It gives us a specific information about where is the location, the route. It gives a specific location on how things need to be transported, what are the costs in specific, if we have detailed information, what are the costs for XYZ things and how they can, let's say, impact our transport, how they can impact our logistics, etc., etc. And I will give you a brief example on this. Let's say, for example, now even in Google Maps, guys, when you search for driving for somewhere, it gives you the option also to choose the engine of your car, and it gives you the option to choose what type of route you want. You want tolls, you want secondary roads, fastest approach, etc. And it also gives you on how much fuel you will save per road when you are driving. Even Google Maps, which is off the shelf for everyone to use. Imagine how much data is collected and processed for the organizations and the customized approach. Now I'm going to go to the line and to the project about the line, which is created by Neon. As we are all aware, at the moment, that is one of the hottest projects on Earth because it's a revolutionary, let's say, project in which it has everything inside a building. Long line, everything, multiple floors, you can transport there, you have shops, you have residents, etc., etc. But how data, Hassan, no, I think it's shortened, Hassan. It's not canceled. They shortened, I think, some part of it, but it's still ongoing due to budget constraints. So we have for the which is something for the line as well. Transport management, energy management. Yep, that's true. 95. Yeah, 25 to 2 kilometers. I think it's around 1.5, if I'm not mistaken, up to 2 kilometers. I read something about that as well, but it's still ongoing, as I am aware. That's why we're talking about how data is helping. If that's launched, how data will help in that specific project, but also it can help in other projects as well. So you have transport management, where you have utilization of different types of data, for example, public transport within the line, or let's say in other city which has public transport. You have the amount of the data which is collected for your public transport, which is the most used route. You try to optimize that. You try to optimize the traffic based on your public transport, even for the private transport. And of course, you have city planners which are utilizing this to reduce congestion, etc., etc. Besides that, we have in urban livings for energy management, where you have smart cities and their energy consumption, and how different types of areas or residential parts need to have different type of energy based on the data and based on the weather, infrastructure, etc. So you optimize that with investment in the infrastructure for that part of the city. Same goes with public safety and security. You have through analytics, you know which are the trouble neighborhoods. You know which are the neighborhoods which might have more issues when it comes to the safety of your citizens, and you optimize your resource allocation for security in those types of neighborhoods. So when it comes to this and the type of data, my personal opinion, and I would like to hear your opinion about this, is that AI is the future of decision making because it has cognitive computing, intelligent automation, and advanced analytic capabilities. We discussed that the human touch is very important. That's true. But what do you think about the AI and how it can impact decision making? Improve decision making due to access to data, advanced analytical analysis. Okay. Ooh. AI is data. David, could you share more about this, please? Would you like to share more?
Hello?
Yeah, we can hear you. Could you please share more?
I can, certainly. The general feeling, certainly in the West here, is in Europe, is because I work a lot to do with interculturality, is that and the information that is built upon in the data within the AI is built largely within the experience gathered by the folks in the States. And a lot of that is gathered from the information available historically, which is white and male, and it's American. So it's going to give you the wrong answer. So it'll give you a starting point, but you've got to be very skeptical about it.
Okay. What if we have a closed system where we utilize AI only for our usage?
Then that might be okay, but it depends on what your data sources are.
That's true. That's true. It's biased. I agree.
It's totally biased.
Yeah. Yeah, I fully agree with you, David, on the part which if we utilize data which is publicly available and we don't take in consideration how our data is used. For example, let's say in ChatGPT, you upload a data file and you ask for specific conclusion, then of course it will go back to what it has processed in the past, the data that it had, and it will do predictive analysis on that. And of course, that can be biased. And of course, no privacy guaranteed. We are not certain even for OpenAI what's doing fully with the data. You remember when it launched, we had people who were searching how to create illegal substances or how to create explosive devices until they had to ban that. So that was running for good 2 or 3 weeks. And I would say that the only way that we can utilize AI is to have closed system for our organization, which we build it slowly, we populate it slowly, and in that way we can have like specific analytics aid, not analytics guidance in a way or decision maker, but aid. That's how I would put it. Of course, it gives us also automation in some places and more patterns than the usual. But still, concerns are there which we can never escape if it's not fully closed system, which will work for multiple years. Okay, guys. So now I would go to the. I see that we don't have a lot more time. I would go to the last part, if it's okay with you, and that is for concluding today's session, where I have drafted some few points on what should be, let's say, in our mind after this webinar and discussion. And the first one is that if we are going to embrace a data-driven mindset, first of all, we need to cultivate a culture behind it. We need to have culture which is data-driven culture. When we need to foster within the organization the mindset shift that now we are focusing on data. We are focusing on data to help our organization, but of course on the culture where we utilize data. We don't rely on data. We utilize that. As we had the discussion with David and Hassan as well, and Jeremy about the implication of workforce planning through data. That comes into play here as well. We always have the culture within our organization where we utilize data, but we don't only rely on that. We keep the human touch, we keep the human factor. Then we have also that if we want to embrace a mindset of data-driven strategy and analytics, we need to invest in the capabilities of data, and of course the continuous learning and adaptation for the same. Besides this, we have also innovation and competitive advantage, which comes through data in 4 main steps, which is data-driven R&D, market intelligence, agility and adaptability, and Kaizen, which is the continuous improvement. And when it comes to barriers, and when it comes to the barriers in data-driven decision-making, we have data silos, which always need to break down. We have cross-functional collaboration. We analyze, before deploying a feature or this new initiative or strategy, we analyze all the pain points, all different parts of the organization. We break down those silos, we work together with other departments, with other teams, and then when we have full understanding, we go on with data-driven decision-making. Of course, legacy systems where we invest in scalable data infrastructure and technologies, cloud computing, big data platforms, analytical tools, Power BI or Tableau, Minitab, SPSFs as we need to go to statistics, etc. And of course, as in everything, and personally as well, I still have doubts in some cases, and that's resistant to change, where we try to address resistance to change. You see, guys, even here in this 2-hour discussion, we have a shared opinion, which is resistance to data in some shape or form. We are skeptic about AI. We are skeptic about how data could be used without the human touch, etc. So before starting with this, you need to always address resistance to change, to provide different types of training, to implement the culture which is needed, and of course, to make it possible to show that there are benefits of data-driven decision making, and of course, to showcase, as we said in the previous parts on part 1 and 2, about ethics, to end fairness when it comes to utilizing data and to have the human touch. When it comes to this, there are 4 main pillars in the future of data-driven decision making. I promise this is the last slide, by the way. First one is that we have the emerging technologies, which is the first pillar, where it's the future of data-driven decision making. It's how the data-driven decision making will be shaped, what we will have in data-driven decision making in terms of processes, in terms of machine learning, advanced techniques, advanced, let's say, AI if it's possible, etc., etc. Then we have real-time analytics, where data collection and processing capabilities improve. We have also real-time usage and analytics of the data. Let's say the most simple example, even when you go to the gym, you see how much calories are you burning when you are running, and what's the estimate of what you will burn until the end if you continue with the same or similar paces you are at the moment. Then, of course, data ecosystems, where we have interconnected data ecosystems where they will have different types of sources, but they will be filtered and shared across different types of organizations and industries, keeping in mind the principles that we discussed about ethics and privacy. And the last one, which we are still far from it, is augmented intelligence. I think that the future with augmented intelligence, what I want to say is that in the future, we will embrace a type of augmented intelligence where human intelligence and expertise are enhanced by data-driven insights and recommendations. Again, emphasis on the word enhanced, not controlled, enhanced. And that's why I think that if implemented correctly, if with the right understanding and with the right human touch, we can utilize data where we'll have a synergy which will have much more informed decision making, and of course it will combine the strengths of the human nature, which it has empathy, emotions, deep understanding, which never going to be replicated by a machine, and of course the part of data which will help us in getting more informed decision in terms of finances, operational costs, etc., etc. From my side, everyone, this was the last slide, and first of all, thank you so much for your attention, and for the fruitful discussion and the points that we discussed. And now I leave the floor to you for any questions or any discussions that you want to have before we wrap it up. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Okay.
Hello? Yeah, apologies. I've had some issues with my computer. So before everyone leaves, again, thank you for being here. We did mention that you will get a $200 voucher discount of our online courses. I will share with you my LinkedIn profile and also my email. If we are not already speaking, because I am connected with some of you through call, WhatsApp, and everything else, feel free to contact me. We can speak about which course you're interested in, and we can apply that voucher towards any of our online sessions for any of the courses. So yeah, if you need anything, feel free to send me a message on LinkedIn, on email. I will, and yeah, I will assist you with that. So again, thank you to everyone for attending.
Sorry, one question. How would
Yes.
the slides be shared?
Okay, so anyone who wants the slides either will contact David or they will contact me. I'm sharing now the email address from my side. You will approach us and I will share a book created for this slide, for these slides. Just one thing, I see a question from Hassan. Hassan, are you here? Just a second, I see a question from Hassan.
Can you hear me?
Hello?
Yes,
Mohammed?
can you hear me? Yes.
Very vague, yes.
Sorry, because I'm attending this while I'm driving from the.
Okay.
So my question is about where does the data governance fits in GRC framework?
Before you answer that, is there somebody who's got a microphone they can mute it? Got some very heavy breathing.
Okay. Is it all good now? I can continue? Okay,
All
so regarding your question about GDPR, I would say I would try to have it in, let's say, some parts. The first one is about governance. Then you have the risk management part, and then you have the compliance part, and these are all part of the framework that is mainly for EU citizens, where the first part about governance is that it requires organizations to ensure that personal data is processed transparently. What I mean by this, sorry, not just transparently, but also lawfully under strict conditions. And this mandates that the data protection principles are integrated within the corporate governance policies. So you have, first of all, you have consent, which needs to be taken from the people that you are having the data processed, collected. With that type of data, once you have consent, you have specific policies that go under the governance policies of your organizations on what you do with those roles, what you do with those types of data, who has what type of role in protecting the data, utilizing the data as well. And this aligns with the one of the pillars of the GRC framework. The second one, which is one of the second pillars of the GRC framework, is related to risk management, where your organization needs to have, let's say, an impact impact protection or data protection impact assessment when processing the data. So they will analyze the risks and for the data, that how you can penetrate the systems that you have, how you will analyze, how you will protect your data, etc., etc. And the third one goes with the compliance part, which is part of the GDPR, where you need to involve to adhere to wide range of requirements, such as different types of policies based on GDPR for maintaining those records, activities about what you are processing, where you are processing, to have records on that, and of course to have data subject rights and to report any types of data breach, even if it's done through testing or through analysis of different types of impact. Okay, I think that this answered your question. Yes, Hassan, sorry, I didn't see you online, that's why I didn't answer. I will go to this now. So just let me find the question. Are you aware of any AI enabled? Hassan, when we are discussing about AI-enabled NI tools, we are discussing about network interface, right? Okay. Microsoft Azure, first one. Google AI tools. What we have next is BI. Sorry, I was thinking about okay. So Google AI tools, that's the first one. Then you have Microsoft Azure, which is helping you a bit. Now, if you want to go into more advanced business in business intelligence and data and analytics, Power BI. Because Hassan, we know that business intelligence is the part which is coming after we have data visualization, where we have the full dashboard. So Power BI can be used as well. Our programming languages can be used as well. You have Python if you want to go into more in-depth. Besides that, you have, which we mentioned, Tableau, we have SPSS, etc. You want me to write you in the chat box all of these tools? Okay, I'm writing. I will write them now. Just give me a second. Okay, I will write them now and these are the ones that I researched also in my PhD. Power BI, Tableau, Click, Sense, and IBM Cognos. Besides this, I will just stay in Hassan. I will share something very important with you. Check this, Hassan. One more link and we are done. Also this. I highly suggest you open this for Apple. We have the Cloudflare one, and you have the AI-enabled Power BI tools such as Power BI, Tableau, ClickSense, IBM Cognos, the ones that I worked with. My pleasure. I will share now. Share now also my LinkedIn profile with all of you. If not, David, you can approach me for anything. I will share the slides. Whoever wants the slide, just drop an email or a text in my mailbox, and you will have a book of the slides. You have my word. Again, thank you so much to everyone. Jeremy, a pleasure seeing you even here on the webinar. Thank
You
you so
too.
much for joining our session.
Great
Thank
session.
you so much to everyone. Everyone who wants to approach me, feel free at any time. I'm always here for all of you. Bye. Bye.